Stoke return to FA Cup action as they welcome fellow Championship side Cardiff City. Now Cardiff coming off the back of that 7-0 thrashing from Leeds United, whereas Stoke back to winning ways. 2-1 away win at Hull City. Great to see, getting back to winning ways for the Potters and Mark Robins' men. But with that, there's already 2 enforced changes made for this game, but will there be many more to come? Cup action, form flies out the window, cup ties could go anywhere, and this is very much an open game. So with that, let's get talking starting 11 predictions versus Cardiff. Now, Mark Robins made 4 changes to the side that went on to win 2-1 against Hull City, and I think this one coming into it, a cup action, another one where how many changes has Mark Robins got on offer in terms of if he wants to. So I think we all know it's an injury hit side. It's a side that, you know what, we've got some first team players that probably would be in that starting 11 week in and week out. The likes of, say, Million Manu, definitely one that would be probably a favourite under Mark Robins. You then got the likes of Pearson and the likes of Bosun Lawal, who are just building up their minutes, and I think Lawal, that's the big one for this game, and that's the interesting kind of point that I want to make, is coming into this starting 11 predictions. You've got players that have obviously dropped out. You've got Lyndon Gooch that obviously got injured in the whole game. Not too sure with that. You've got Wilmot as well, and obviously you've got the cup-tied players of Nathan Lowe and Al-Hamadi as well. So that's 2 strikers that obviously are out of the picture for this one. So I think there will be changes made. We've already got 2 enforced ones, but I think there will be one where Mark Robins looks at this game and says, it's a chance for players to show me what you're made of. And I think Bosun Lawal is a key one for this. Just coming back from injury, could it be that he makes a half an hour appearance in the latter stages of the game? Or could it be that he gives him, say, 60 or 70 minutes to start the game and build up that fitness and in a cup game, not making it a priority, but maybe having that chance to say, right, we can make changes, and if it does backfire, it's not too much of a difference. But you look at the Sunderland game, and in terms of the side that Mark Robins brought out, not too many changes at all. But I think this one, there's a difference. We had a week in between the Sunderland game and then the West Brom game, and that one, this time we got Bristol City on Wednesday. He'll want to rest up, and I think with this one, it's possibly a mix between players that he wants to obviously keep the momentum with, obviously coming off the back of winning ways. Won't want to make too many changes, but with 2 enforced and possibly a midweek game where, right, let's not build up that injury list even further than what it already is. I think he will look to make changes in this one, and hopefully Bosun Lawal does make an appearance. Now, we'll get talking about I think he'll make the side, but obviously up top, as well as another one, Nathan Lowe's obviously cup-tied, playing with Walsall. Al-Hamadi as well, obviously playing when he was with Ipswich. So I think it is one where, who will we see lead the line for the Potters? How many changes will he make? How many will he look at and say, you know what, I haven't given you too many minutes. And yes, I didn't really make changes in the 3rd round of the FA Cup when we played Sunderland, but for this one, fellow Championship side, they're going to make changes. And I just got that gut feeling that he will make changes in this one as well. And I think injury-wise, it is probably one where who's closest to coming back to being in contention week in and week out, especially as we get into a bit of a hectic period. I think Bosun Lawal's definitely one. Ben Pearson, obviously, both of them building the minutes in the academy. So it's one where possibly you look at it and you say, will Andre Vidigal be given a chance? He obviously played and got on the score sheet twice in their game as well. So it'll be interesting to see how many changes he makes. And you look at the amount of minutes that certain players, well, certain young players have played for the duration of this season. Will they be rested? And I do just get that feeling they might be. But with that, something that I do want to talk about is what formation. And I think, could this be a chance to maybe not have a play about, but have a bit of freedom to see what it's like and if that suits players better, and go into a back 3 and going for, say, a 3-5-2, which obviously Mark Robins did go to at times at Coventry. I know the latter stages of when he was there this season, he went to that, and I think it's one where, yes, it does cater for the likes of Al-Hamadi and Nathan Lowe, but also we played a back 4 and they still catered for both of them 2 strikers. So I think it's one where possibly we look at that one for this game. I'm not too sure, maybe not, and I think it is one where possibly Stoke fans may look at it and say, it's risky. If you start making mistakes and all that lot, all of a sudden that formation comes under scrutiny. But if it starts working, then it's like voila, do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see if he does stick with a back 4. I think he will. I don't think, obviously coming off the back of a win as well, then he'll be happy with it. And it'll be one way says, right, okay, I feel like I am starting to cater for the players. Plus, with players coming back, yes, we've got Manu back in March. That's only a month away now. Well, probably over a little over a month then. But one way we're now getting them players coming back in and back into the squad. Would he then change? I'm not too sure. It'll be interesting to see. I think if you would or wanted to try and start working on something different, a cup game probably would be the best way to do it. But I have got that feeling that it will be a back four and it's a similar formation that we see for this cup game. So with that, we're going to get talking about it. How many changes will Mark Robins make to his starting 11? So ahead of this one, how many changes will he look to make for this? Now, we didn't make too many in the game against Sunderland. We didn't even see a goalkeeping change where obviously you normally have, say, the second choice keeper come in for a cup game. But for this one, I'm going to stick with the back four. I'm going to stick with the same formation and I'm going to go for something different. I reckon Bonham will come in for this one. You'll look at the amount of players that we've had in terms of playing quite a number of minutes in terms of consistently and 90 minutes in the tank or a good chunk of the game, having to play week in and week out. I think Mark Robins will look at this one and say, right, it is a priority. It would be nice to have a cup run, but I do think that it's one way he'll say, right, let's make the changes. There's no harm in it. We're against a fellow championship side that will do the exact same thing, and we're at home as well. Why not? So I do think, looking at the lineup for this one, of course, I'm going to go for Jack Bonham in goal, in place of Victor Johansson, who's played quite a number of minutes. But obviously, if Victor Johansson does come in, there'll be no arguments at all. But an absolute lead, a fantastic asset to our side, and definitely one of our best players this season and what's been a very tough season for the Potters. But I'm going to put Bonham in goal for this one. In terms of the back four, could be one where Ender Stevens dropped to the bench with obviously a Bristol City on the midweek and then obviously a game on the Saturday as well. Resting minutes, watching how much he has in the tank. But could he start the game and play 60 minutes? I'm not too sure. But you've got the likes of Lyndon Gooch who came off in Hull. I don't think you'd really want to risk him for this one. So I'm going to go for Ender Stevens and Junior Shamadou as your two fullbacks. And then in terms of your centre-halves, that's the change that I'm going to make. I think when you look at players that have played quite a huge chunk of minutes, Ashley Phillips is definitely one of them. And could it be that he just wants to rest him for this one? Nothing against him. Another one that's been a fantastic asset to the side. One of our key players. But could it be that he just feels the need to rest him, and with especially a midweek game coming up? So I'm going to go for Gibson, and I'm going to go for Rose in this one. Gibson obviously just coming back from that slight injury that he got. Obviously brings in that leadership as well, and having that centre-back partnership of quite an experienced back line with Junior Shamadou on the right as well. Could just be needed for a cup game, especially at home. So I think that would be one of the changes. In terms of your double pivot, we've obviously had the links of Walter Berger moving away. Would that have had any impact? I don't think it would have, but I do think you might see changes in this one in terms of in that midfield three. So I'm going to go for Tatsuki Seko, playing alongside Bosun Lawal. Now I'm going to go for it. I'm going to predict then he's going to start, and I think it will be that it's a planned 60 minutes or 70 minutes. We already saw him play, 70 minutes in that last academy match a couple of days back, building up the fitness, getting it back up, and I think it could be that he starts the game, or obviously it could be that he comes on for the last half an hour, replacing the likes of, say, Berger or Baker. Obviously, Baker having that illness, could he be back in contention? I presume he would be. So I do think that you will see probably Tatsuki Seko playing a deeper role. Maybe Lowe playing a little bit more advanced. Apparently, he played a bit more advanced in the academy matches, which wouldn't really surprise me in terms of, say, the freedom of it. So maybe he plays a little bit more of a freedom role where we know he's got his physicality to get on the ball. And then I'm going to go for that in terms of, I think it would be a better option in terms of cup game coming up, where you can give the minutes out, and obviously midweek game where I keep banging on about, where maybe you had the likes of Berger and Baker that probably would start, or Seko and Baker, or Seko and Berger. You then rest them two up, and obviously say, right, you're probably going to play the last 20 minutes, so replace Lawal, and Lawal's building up his minutes as well. And then obviously Pearson, it's probably too soon for him in that one. So that's who I'm going to go for in the double pivot. In the 10, I'll go for Andrew Moran. Obviously dropped to the bench in the Hull game. Could obviously see the likes of, say, Juno playing the 10, but I think for this one, Moran might be suited for that 10 role, especially with the likes of Lowe and Al-Hamadi. Cup tied, obviously you feel that Moran probably is more than likely going to play in that number 10 role. Wingers wise, I think this is a difficult one. I think it depends on if, say, Ender Stevens drops to the bench or is rested, and you look at the minutes he's having. Could Wilson Esbrand then move to left back? I think that's what it will depend on. But I'm going to put Wilson Esbrand on the left and John Ho on the right and look at this one and say, you know what, Kumas, I think he is another player that's played quite a lot of minutes. Just dropping him out, and it's not him being dropped, it's him being rested, ready for the Bristol City game, where he hopefully can kick on. But you look at this one, there's a striker role available. Could he be the one to lead the line? He's done it before. Could he be the one that Mark Robins looks to try and get the goals in this one and see, oh, right, I've seen you play on the wing. What can you do for me in this cup game where you can kind of go for that and experiment with that? Could he lead the line? But talking of that, who's going to lead the line? I do think that Kumas and Phillips are your ones that are going to be rested. Maybe they won't, and I might be miles off, I might be talking out my backside. But I am going to go for Emre Tezgal starting this game. He's been patient on the bench. He's waited. He's worked hard and obviously had to come on when he's had to come on and make a difference. And I think this one, let him have his moment. Let him show what he's made of. We've seen him before in terms of in pre-season. He went to MK Dons in the last part of last season. Got goals then. And I think a cup game, why not give him a chance? Why not? We saw him start the game on the opening game of the season against Coventry. Why not try that again? And maybe it is Kumas, but maybe it is Tezgal as well. We'll have to see. And obviously Niall Ennis on loan against Blackpool. I probably would have said it would have been him who obviously got the goal, the winner in the third round of the FA Cup when we played against Sunderland. Maybe it's Tezgal's time to shine as well. We'll have to see. But that is the starting 11 I've gone for. Is it too many changes? I'm not too sure. Let me know what you guys think. But I've just got that feeling. It's going to be quite a few changes, 2 enforced and a couple more as well with that. So there we have it then. That is the team I'm going to go for. Well, there we have it then. That's the team I'm going for. Hopefully, we book our place in the 5th round of the FA Cup and get a good solid side. Now, obviously, you look at in the past, in the FA Cup in recent kind of years, Brighton, let's hope it's not them. They've knocked us out twice now in the kind of recent years. Palace have done the same when we've reached the FA Cup 5th round. Hopefully this time a bigger draw, and hopefully it's maybe a nice away day for the travelling Stoke fans that always go in their numbers. So with that, we'll have a see what happens. How many changes will Mark Robins make, and how many players might even get on the score sheet? I think it's going to be quite an open game. We're going to get score predictions out very, very soon. But with that, we'll see what happens on Saturday. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.